on Twitch, I call the community the Black Dog Brigade, and that's kind of the name that I have for my ship. But then on Discord, it's called the Bildrat Hideout. It's like an extension, because one thing I've always seen the Black Dogs as are as adventurers, and as I'm sure you know, the Bildrats are all about adventuring and going out into the world and seeking voyages. So I decided Bildrat Hideout, because it's like a cool place to hang out and chill, but you also like you get to know people in there. So I decided Bildrat Hideout would actually be pretty perfect.
So what other games do you play other than Sea of Thieves?
I really love open world RPG style games. So the secondary game I have on my channel is Assassin's Creed. I really love how the franchise dives into history but adds a fictional aspect to it. So I personally myself, I've played Black Flag, Odyssey, and Valhalla, but all of them are, I would say, are pretty good for anyone who's bound for adventure and learning something along the way. And then also alongside the RPG, I started to get into FPS a little bit with Overwatch since early 2018, and that's been a lot of fun as well.
So what's your favorite part about being part of a streaming community or a gaming community?
One of my favorite things about the community is that you are not limited to one specific channel. You can, like, take Sea of Thieves for example. Actually, I think it's the perfect example. You can go into practically any Sea of Thieves streamers community, and chances are high that you're going to run into someone that you've talked with somewhere else. So like if you are, say, in Boxy Fresh's channel and you start talking with someone and then you have to go for whatever reason, you could think, okay, well, I'm probably never going to see that person again. And then and then the next day you go into Rob Raven, Slev86, a lot of them, all of them actually, bring a very friendly atmosphere to their channels, while at the same time being heavy in PvP and giving positive encounters with the people that they're fighting. Which is very, very refreshing to see, especially with all of the posts we get on the Facebook group about like people getting sunk and this happening. Like you can have a PvP experience, but it doesn't have to turn sour. And I think that's what keeps a lot of people from playing Sea of Thieves, is they hear about those, but they only get half the story.
How long have you been streaming for?
I've been streaming for 3 years as of December 29th. I'm pretty sure I had my very first stream on my birthday. And I started because, honestly, I had been making YouTube content for 3 years. I've been making YouTube content since almost a decade. And it just got to the point where putting aside time to write a script, record, edit, and do all those things got to be way too time consuming alongside university. So I decided, well, if I live stream, then the content's just like there, and I can actually interact with people in the moment, which is kind of what I love to do in general. So I feel like that was my biggest goal for streaming, is I could actually, like, I guess in a sense, be time cognizant with it, while still creating content and engaging the community.
Do you have a bigger following on Twitch or on YouTube?
Right now I have a bigger following on YouTube, because I had it since 2011, but I feel actually like in terms of since YouTube subscribers are essentially the same as Twitch followers, my follower count on Twitch is starting to get up to the same level. I think I have 643 on YouTube, and I just passed the 500 mark on Twitch on Monday. So they're starting to even out a little bit.
So it sounds like though that your Twitch is starting to catch on though. It's about to surpass your YouTube for channel for sure.
Yeah, and I think I owe a big reason for that is because I haven't actively been making YouTube content, because alongside the streaming and the moderating, I've also taken on the role of house husband. So since I'm currently don't have a job, and I have a lot of time to make sure things are kept nice around the house. So I'll wash dishes or do laundry or sweep every now and then, and that's been really good. It gives me something to do outside of the stream room and sitting in a chair for X hours a day.
Yeah, that brings me to some of my next questions about, so a lot of people ask about how you balance, like, your relationships and streaming, because streaming takes a lot more time than people think that it does. So how do you balance, like, your home life with your streaming?
I'd say I cater my streaming based on the availability I have after I'm done the home life. So, say for example, like, one thing I find I'm always doing is dishes. We don't have a dishwasher, so I have to actually hand wash the dishes myself. So, if I need to do the dishes, then I will postpone stream, or I will set it for another day. Or if I really need to do laundry, same sort of deal. I'll do it. I'll schedule the stream around when I am doing after I've done that priority. I'm gonna jump off for the barrels right here. See what's here.
Oh, good.
Because I am awful with cartoon. And I feel like that's helped me really to keep a focus on both my relationship and like what really is important in the grand scheme of things. Like, yes, this is a hobby that I'm very passionate about, but at the same time, I have an obligation to my partner to be able to, like, do things while she's out of the house.
Do you think that, how does your streaming impact your, like, your relationship? Does your partner support your streaming?
She supports my streaming a lot. She's actually my primary moderator right now, and she's been very supportive with it. We're both pretty deep into our various Twitch and Discord communities, and when I did my 12-hour stream on Monday, she actually made sure that I was, like, that there was food for me periodically so that I was remembering to eat. And it's been really nice having someone who's supportive of, like, me wanting to do this, even though it's not like a guaranteed paycheck, and it's not really contributing too much financially, but it's something that I'm passionate about, and the fact that she's supportive of me for that it means so much to me. Like, I cannot thank her enough.
That is awesome. That is really awesome. I think having a supportive partner is, like, one of the most important things.
Yeah, absolutely. And in turn, I support her when she's either working on her own panels or thinking about, well, what sort of stuff do I actually want to do with my streaming? And we actually do play Sea of Thieves. We will be playing Sea of Thieves together more often now that she actually has the game on her PC, while I have it on Xbox.
Ooh, I'm super excited to see this.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I love
Gonna be a
watching
good
couples that play together. It is awesome.
It's interesting when our play styles clash a little bit. I don't mind going for the meg fighting and the PvE aspect, and there are times when she just wants to sail and not really have much of a goal. So it's interesting how we compromise those times.
How many hours do you dedicate to streaming? Not directly to streaming, but like preparing for streaming, editing, everything and anything that includes your streaming career.
Right. Oh, that's actually a question I have not really thought about. As far as... Okay, let's just start with basic stream timing. I aim to stream 4 times a week for a minimum of 3 hours. So that's at least 12 there. And then preparing for stream, whether that's like getting some sort of an outfit on or making sure stream elements are good to go, I'd say maybe another hour, hour and a half. And then after, and that's per stream, so times that by 4, turns out to be, what is that, 6 hours? Yeah, something like that. And then, in terms of editing, unfortunately it's probably the least amount of time, which is not something that should be a thing. Because creating content outside of streaming is also important. But I'd say for that, I'd spend a good, maybe 2 hours. Ideally, I should be spending about 2 hours after each stream to see, like, to make note of, okay, this stretch of stream happened when it was really good content, so I'll make some clips out of that, and then sharing to social media and whatnot. So yeah, an hour and a half to 2 hours for each stream I think it would be a good amount of time.
Do you consider your modding as part of your streaming? I don't know if you consider that to be networking or if it's just something that you do.
Oh, true. No, that's actually a good point. That would absolutely be part of the networking. Since as a moderator, not only are you interacting with viewers, but there are other streamers that come into chat as well. So networking there would also be pretty important. And that, oh geez, that's at least 3 times a week for 4 hours for Falcor. That already puts it at another 12 hours. We're up to 24 hours now.
So it's almost like a full-time job.
Yeah, essentially. That's pretty darn true. Streaming does take up a lot of your time. So it boggles my mind how people can think like it's not strenuous, it's not difficult when you put in that much effort. Like it's just mind-blowing. Yeah, a 9 to 5 is like a set number of hours per day, but hey, so is streaming, so is networking.
And it's more, and I try to always say, like, too, that it's more than just playing video games. Like, you do it because you love the community.
Yeah. For sure. Love the community, love the interactions. Yeah, you're not gonna always have the best, you're not always gonna mesh with everyone you run into, but it's good to know how to deal with those types of people if you have a different opinion from them, or if you might do something a little differently, then it's good to get another perspective on the matter.
So what's your ultimate streaming goal?
Undetermined. thought about what I want to do as for streaming in the long run. Right now, I'm still kind of at the hobby stage with getting more into treating it as a job myself. But I feel like long term, that could very well be in the cards for me. I love content creation. I love being able to use my technical skill, say technical, use my, yeah, I guess technical, use my technical and extroversion skills for community interactions, which actually, when you think about it, is kind of like all the moderating and those tools is a lot of what social media managers do. So I guess in a sense, I'm honing my social media skills for possible job opportunities in the future. Especially when jobs are more and more online jobs. Where are you? I want to shoot you.
So what are some of your
Ooh.
favorite moments from streaming in general? Like some of those, like the best moments you ever experienced.
I don't want to sound too much like a broken record, but I have made some incredible friendships through streaming, through visiting people's channels, and just had a lot of laughs because of what's been happening on the screen, or it's like from getting to interact with people. I think really, what was one thing that happened? Yeah, so I remember one time I was sailing with some of the other moderators for Falcor, and we were, I think it might have been last year's Gildeds, and one of the other guys, Geekers, he didn't, I think I didn't realize what islands the Gilded was going to take us to, so I put it down. We ended up going back to Plunder Valley, like far too many times that he cared for, but in one of those times, we actually managed to nab our first ancient coin skeleton. And that was just the coolest moment, because we had heard they were in the world, but we hadn't encountered one yet, so we weren't sure, like, oh, well, is this ever gonna happen? This feels like we're chasing the ghost or something. And sorry, I had to put that in there just a teeny little bit.
The infamous shrouded ghost that doesn't exist.
Exactly, yeah, 100%. And that moment when, in just this moment of, oh my gosh, why are we back here again? This is literally the worst thing that can happen. Rare was like, oh really? Well, here, let me make the day a little better for you. So that was a lot of fun.
So have you had any really bad experiences while streaming?
I'm pretty sure that I've had some, none that jumped to my mind immediately. There were a few times, I mean, of course, when people like repeatedly send you invites to games, or they are relentless in chat of like, hey, can I play with you? Can I play with you? Can I play with you? Like, first of all, that's just kind of poor etiquette in general, to message a streamer as they're playing and continuously ask them to play. It's like, no, that's just, like, maybe offline you might be able to do that, but as they're broadcasting, it's a little bit intrusive. So unfortunately, I have gotten a couple of those. As far as other instances, I don't really recall anything that was super bad. And I'm really grateful for that, because like, I am still a growing streamer. So there's definitely potential for me to have more experiences like that. But the fact that they haven't happened very often is very, very welcoming. I think I need to eat this thing. There we go.
Well, that's great that you really haven't had too many negative experiences. Because I know
Yeah.
that there are a lot of negative instances out there that people who do things just to do things just because they want to be mean, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I think I've gotten more negative experiences from moderating than I have from streaming myself.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, because you are the one who has to, like, put the ban hammer down.
Exactly. Like, you're the authority that no one wants to listen to. So, obviously, like, that's an issue for me. Even that, like, it's thankfully because Twitch has put so many moderation tools in play for people to use in those instances, then it's really helpful to not. Oh, I'm gonna die. I am. Nope. Oh!
You died.
Or you get times like that when.
I might be able to res you, hold on.
Nah, no, you don't need. When you literally are an inch away from or an inch away from dying, but wait, no, hang on. An inch away from not dying, and you still just like miss it by that sliver.
Get away from me, shark.
It's actually funny though when like you mess up on stream or like something happens that's kind of counterproductive to what you hope for. Like you and your chat can still laugh about that. It turns into a running joke. Like I think a while ago, like Falcor has Rocks, the Rocks website to help support streamers, and a while ago he was consistently getting headshotted by skeletons from the island. Not just like body shot, the skeletons seem to deliberately be aiming for nowhere else but Falcor's head. And now he's actually made a Rocks donation for one of those badges that's a headshot with a cannon.
Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like some bad luck, but it also sounds pretty awesome though too.
Yeah, it was a great time. Oh, okay, got it. Haha, got it.
So how do you keep composure when you want to rage? Like nothing's going your way, you're getting spawn camped, people are just being real nasty. Like, what do you do?
Calm breathing. It is very, very difficult to keep a solid composure in chat, or keep on stream when things just are not going well. And at times it can be a lot easier to even like turn off your webcam or take a BRB screen, but like cover it in a way that isn't obvious. Like, and again, I'll use Falcor as an example because basically shackled into every single one of his streams. The other day, he was getting first he was getting frustrated because he kept having people run from him on the sea instead of turning and fighting while they were rocking a Reaper emissary, might I add. And at the same time, he was getting lightheaded. So he kept a smooth composure, but it got to this one point where I think he said he had to stop his dog from chewing on something, and then afterwards he let us know in his Discord chat and hey guys, at this point I was actually I need to take a breather and chill out because people just were not I was getting fumed, and I thought that worked really, really well.
I definitely struggle with that because sometimes, especially when you got Like, my one example was that I got invited to a party like 800 times. Like, literally 800 times. And it was dinging. All I hear was dinging. Ding, 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 ding. It would not stop. It would not stop. And every time I would block them, like, then another account would do it. And this went on for like 30 minutes. And like, I was like, I don't know how to not freak out right now. And everybody's watching, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Oh my god.
Yeah. Actually, Geekers had that happen to him one time when he was streaming. I think it was... Yeah, he kept getting game invite after game invite and messages, and the first few times like, hey, whoever's sending me invites, could you stop? I'm not gonna respond. But then it got to the point where he snapped, and I felt for him so badly. Because as a streamer, you never want to reach that point where you fume. And as a viewer, you absolutely hate to see the person you're supporting rage like that, because you know it's not fun. It's like when you, I mean, I don't know how many people have experience with this, but it's like having to discipline a child. You don't want to do it, but it's a necessary thing because they just won't listen to anything else.
And I heard recently that there are people on Twitch that have Twitch accounts literally just to troll other streamers. And to make their life like a living hell, literally.
No, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like,
I had one in my channel the other day, and I was like, oh no.
I have absolutely no idea how anyone gets enjoyment out of that. Like, what do you have to be going through in your own life to make that be the thing that brings you joy? I will never understand that. Sir, can you not bite my crewmate, please?
He says, no, they tasty.
Well, you know what? You're gonna be tasty here in a second. There we go. Oh, wait.
So I got a good question. How do you explain to people who aren't video gamers or really don't know what streaming is? Like, how do you explain what streaming is?
That is also a very good question. I would say, what I've done in the past is I would just, I always liken it to a party. So when people ask like, oh, why would you spend hours at a computer screen watching this person play a game? And I say, well, why do people spend hours at a dance club? Well, because there's a lot of people there and there's entertainment to enjoy. Okay, there's your answer. And like, of course, that's very base. That's very base analysis. But I really do see streaming as a type of party. Like, there's a community, there's entertainment, there is something that, like, personally you get out of it and the host is grateful for. And I feel like likening streaming to something that people are familiar with, who don't play video games, who don't really understand streaming, find the thing that they can relate to that's similar to having a community and providing some manner of entertainment, and it may get them on the track to turning around.
Do you think that streaming is just for video gamers, or do you think there's a market for people who do other things?
Absolutely not. Streaming is 100% a market for people who want to, for any market really. There are, I mean, and like Twitch itself advertises that it is a platform not just for video gamers. There are crafting channels, there are just chatting channels, there are music channels. There was a huge community around Twitch things. And honestly, I'm very sad that that has stopped, because that singing and being able to enjoy music like that, there's a huge community around that. For decades, people have enjoyed music and singing. Yeah, and Panda in chat right now, my wife does makeup. Exactly. Like that is 100% what it is. Like, it's not just video games, but it's anyone who has a passion that wants to share it with the world that they wouldn't normally be able to connect with.
I was definitely like, I like that because I was trying to tell my friend the other day my friend who has a kid, and the one that wants to be a streamer, and I said that I wanted her to do it because she is an extraordinary artist, and
Right.
and also like a musician, like self-taught everything, artist and musician. I'm like, dude, I'm like, just go and make a just chatting, and just hang out and do your art and your music and just chat. I'm telling you, I'm like, you're gonna get a following just from hanging out and chatting and doing art and music, and like, you'll be able to like have a platform to sell your art and your music too, like. So I do think too that, and my sister, the one that I was saying has, like, doesn't understand any of this. I said, she's all into really strange things, but she goes dumpster diving a lot, and she like rescues food and stuff like that, and then dehydrates everything and pretty much prepares for the apocalypse. But she's all into health and nutrition and like post-apocalyptic stuff, basically. I was like, but I'm like, again, just chatting.
Actually, I think there might be a health and fitness category on Twitch too.
Oh, actually, I didn't know that if that's the case. I'll have to look into that.
It's possibly. I haven't looked at all the categories too much, but I know there's a market for practically everything you can really think of. And it's great. Like, my wife loves to crochet, and she follows a crochet streamer who, in her Discord, will upload both free and paid crochet patterns of some of the cutest stuff. I think yesterday she showed me the free pattern the patterns that were uploaded. The free one was a dragon egg, and the paid one was a cute little dragon itself.
Oh my gosh, little dragon. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think that there's platforms for tutorials too, like teaching how people to do stuff.
Absolutely.
How did you learn how to do, like, so I see like on your Twitch channel you have like the overlays and stuff like that. Like, where did you learn to do all of that stuff?
Right. I feel like that I just learned from Googling and looking at other streamers, asking questions, and really reaching out to the community. For the stuff that I have myself, it took me a long time to actually get to, because as a console streamer, you have very little access to overlays and alerts. And streaming from a console is very limiting, but there are tools that you can use to give you some more artistic flair. But for the first long while, I actually just spent researching, chatting with other streamers, reaching out to the community to say, hey, I see this happening on a channel. Is anyone able to help me with this? And then I get some feedback and say, hey, awesome, like, let's work on that. And now that I'm a bit more, now that I have started to get into PC streaming, since my wife got her PC and we got an Elgato, then I've had to learn a lot more about, okay, well, this is how OBS works, and this is how like chat overlays, which I'm actually still trying to figure out.
Streamlabs is a beast. Streamlabs is a beast. And there's just so much information.
And like Stream Elements, what I use is the same way. Like there's a lot of things to learn. And if you don't ask, then how are you really gonna know?
Yeah, I feel like at some points it can be extremely intimidating because it's just like there's just so many things you need to do and you don't know how to do them.
Yeah, for sure. But thankfully, the Twitch community is very, very helpful with learning how to do those things. Because we're all streamers, we're all making our way together, so why not help each other out? And that's one thing I think is a mentality on Twitch that is rather silly, the fact of being in competition with other streamers. I can't get behind that, honestly. And like, one of my favorite questions that we get in wow, all that water went directly over. One of my favorite questions we get in Falcor's channel is like, who's better, this streamer or this streamer? And like, the answer is neither one is better. They just have their own style. It's crazy.
People who are looking to gain followers, because I know a lot of people have issues like they don't know how to find, like how to get more followers or the average view count up. I know that's a big one for people who aren't affiliated yet, trying to get that average view count.
Yeah, I would honestly, for followers, there's not. Be genuinely yourself. Most times, like when people go into a stream, I feel like a predominant thing they're looking for is to find a community and to find someone who's real. If you project who you are, and they do like your personality, they like the fact that you are being real with them, then you'll get support you may very well get support from that. A chat member can smell when you're being fake from a mile away. So, and they can tell when you're having an off day. Like, I think a few times, like, I wasn't feeling 100% while I was streaming, and it showed in stream. And even chat was saying, like, hey, are you doing alright? You seem a little off. So, genuine is the best thing you can do. As far as gaining the average viewership, that is what I struggled with for the longest time. I would say that, honestly, building, like asking friends even to set your stream up as they're going about and doing other things, that could be a big help. Because Twitch does factor in the lurks, and they do factor in, like how long people are in a chat, which is kind of what average viewership means, so like, no duh. Sorry.
And for everybody out there, if you don't know, in order for your average viewer to count, you have to have your sound on. Even if it's only a tiny little bit, you have to have your sound on, and it has to be, like, the video has to be open.
Yes. Yeah, so if you have a window, even at 1%, then it will still count. And I believe the, unless they changed it recently,
let's vote the flag up.
Okay, yeah.
I just, sorry, I figured that we would sell everything really quick except that skull, just in case that galleon tries a fast one on us.
Yeah, so I'll vote to raise the flag, and then I'll do that.
Alright.
What was I saying? Oh, actually, can we sell that barnacle chest to a gold hoarder?
Oh yeah, just keep it, then put, here, I'll take it back to the boat, actually. Or you can.
Awesome.
Got it, you got it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll go.
You need it for the 12 Deeds of Giving?
No, I need it for the shipwreck chests.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten that one done. But yeah, unless Twitch has changed it, you can have a maximum of 4 lurks at a time.
I honestly I don't even honestly know what lurk is, so, because I'm still new to streaming, so I've only been doing this about 3 months now. So what is lurk exactly?
Lurk is essentially having somebody stream up on your computer or your tablet, but you're not necessarily watching it. You're just kind of in the background while you're, I mean, predominantly in this day and age, while you're doing some sort of work, or you're making dinner, or you're doing laundry. If you just have a stream up in the background, then like, that's essentially a lurk. A lot of streamers in their chats do have a lurk command, but the only thing that does is let the streamer know, like, hey, I'm kind of busy at the moment, but I still have you up, and we appreciate that so much. Like, lurks can definitely be an underappreciated, or like, underrated, I guess, an underrated support that people don't necessarily realize the value of.
You hear that, chat? Y'all do that lurk.
And it can be really fun too when like streamers put in lurk commands, because my buddy Slev, he has the lurk command, and of course you do it, and the bot gives a little blurb, and I think his is, wow, you let the Slev show up, thank you so much, enjoy your lurk. But then you can also attach sound alerts to it.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a sound tone from Finding Nemo when Crush and his son do the little head noggin, and you just hear, dude, sweet, totally.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So whenever he hears noggin, then he knows, like, okay, someone's got me on lurk. And it just adds another fun element to chat of joy, really.
I think my last question I have really is just, what advice do you have for people who want to stream but don't know how to get started?
I would say, see, that's interesting. The best thing to do to get started, as cliche as it might be, is honestly just try it. You don't need a lot of high-tech equipment to really get started. Just a laptop that with a decent internet connection, headset, and something you love, honestly, is really the core materials you need for streaming.
Do you think that beginner streamers should just focus on their main game or their favorite game? Or should they do like all different games?
I would say do what you love, because it's what's going to give you the most enjoyment, and don't worry so much about, never worry about numbers. That's one thing that I've had to learn myself through like my own streaming, is the best thing you can do is enjoy streaming your favorite game and watching and interacting with the community. Yeah, it might be a little oversaturated with a lot of different streamers who are more prominent on the platform, but at the beginning, you're really just getting into like, what is streaming? Is this for me? And honestly, that's why you shouldn't spend a whole bunch of money up front, especially if you're not sure if streaming is for you, because you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on equipment that you may not use. So,
yeah, I have someone in my chat that says, hey, my Lambo Gamer says, so I've been playing League of Legends for a few years now, and I want to start streaming it. What's your advice?
I mean, that's a great base to have right now. You have a game that you love and you're experienced with. My advice to you would, again, I don't want to sound cliche, but just do it. Like, you could stream pretty easily from your laptop. You don't have to have all the bells and whistles. As long as you have a microphone, as long as you have a way for your voice to be captured that makes you audible for other people to hear, then you are off to a great start. if you remember to have fun with it and just share what you're doing, then that's kind of the best thing that you can do right now. And everything else will come in time.
And with Xbox, do you how does it work with Xbox? Do you need a capture card to stream from Xbox?
No. That is the glorious thing. If you already have an Xbox, you are set up for streaming with the Twitch app. So literally, when you go into Twitch, at the top, you'll have, we need to turn left a little bit. At the very top of the Twitch app, there's a couple different options. I think there's watch, recommended, and broadcast. And the broadcast, will open up like a brief little stream dashboard, and you can actually go to you can go to the Twitch website and put in all your information for what you're streaming, your title, your tag, all of that on there, and it'll show up in the Twitch app. And then from there, you just hit go live, and you are set to go. You have a headset, you're A-okay, things are gravy.
I think a big thing too is I would watch League of Legends streamers and people that are in that community too, and try to network people with people who like League of Legends too.
Yeah, absolutely. Networking is
and being in communities on Facebook, like you have the Sea of Thieves community on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm positive that there is some League of Legends-esque community that's like Sea of Thieves community group that you'll be able to get into and really just get to know people, get to know sort of like what different groups enjoy what. One thing I will say for streaming, and I think it's the best advice any starting streamer can get, is you never want to get toe the line of self-promoting. It's like if you're starting up a stream, it's not really good etiquette to go in and to say like, hey, I stream this too on this day and that. Or if you're about to start a stream and you've been watching someone, don't say, okay, I'm gonna go stream now. Because that's an element of Twitch etiquette that is very important, and people will respect you for that. In time, as they see you pop in, you can, like, if you just had a stream and, like, a raid went really, really well, or a raid went really, really bad, then you can tell the streamer how the raid went, and then over time, they might recognize, hey, this guy comes in and he says a lot about raiding, and they might ask you, do you stream your raids? Because I feel like that could be really funny content. And then when the streamer opens that conversation, then it's a good time to, like, that can be a good time to share, like, yeah, I've been doing this for like a couple of months and I'm just having fun with it, but I'm really enjoying it. That's just an element of Twitch etiquette that I feel a lot of people starting streaming really need to hear.
That's great advice. I've never heard that before, but I don't do that, but I would say also that once you do start going into people's channels frequently, like I know a lot of streamers will shout you out. Like if you're like a regular follower and you're in their channel, they'll shout you out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you should check out this streamer. They're playing Sea of Thieves on their channel. You know what I mean? Like, that's a huge thing.
For sure.
Lambo said, so I've been trying to build a new computer because my older one is old. What should be my budget? What are your recommendation parts? I don't know. Do you have any experience with building computers, Zach, or?
Zero.
Zero? Oh, I can kind of answer your question there. What I would recommend doing, what I would recommend you to do is go to PCPartPicker.com, and I would work with, you can make a decent gaming rig for around 800, not including probably your monitor or your mouse and keyboard and stuff like that. But I would go with a Ryzen, either 5 or 7, and then you can get like graphics cards for like $200, $300. I would go with an SSD for your hard drive, because they load the games faster. Your motherboard, I would recommend going with something that, again, doesn't have to be super fancy. Since if you're gonna go with a 5, I wouldn't go with anything that has an NVMe drive. So I would just, also another good source is, I used a lot of people's advices on the subreddit for building your own computer. I can look it up and let you know what the subreddit's called. And then using PC Part Picker. PC Part Picker will tell you if all of your parts are compatible or not. So my rig, I think, what did I spend on my rig? Like $1,200, I think. And I have a Ryzen 7 with a Gigabyte GeForce RTX Super 8. That graphics card was expensive. It's like $500, but I won't have to upgrade my system for some amount of years. So with everything included, I would imagine that setting a budget of like $1,000 would be a good range for you to get like a beginning setup for streaming, for, you know, playing on computers.
Going back to what you had asked about the Xbox rig, if you do want to stream, if you do want to have like the overlays, the scenes, the transitions, all that stuff, then you will have to get like video capture software. My wife and I managed to pick up an Elgato HD60S from a pawn shop here in town for $150, which is, I think, probably one of the, probably like the lower end, but it has already performed very well with the few streams that I've done.
Hey guys, Wreck-It Roth here. Thank you so much for watching Streamers Are Us. If you know a streamer that you think would be great for this project, please message me, Wreck-It-Roth23, or hey_hey1987 on Twitch, and let us know who that is. Thank you so much again, and if you like what you see, please drop us a subscribe and follow on Twitch. Thank you!